Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monster Report live here on YouTube and on Facebook. Your host, Nick Adam, and the Monster Report's a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. And we're glad you're here on this live episode and checking things out and all kind of things kaiju. It's a very exciting time to be a kaiju fan. As we all know, we have had Godzilla -1 out in Japan and here soon in the US. We have Monarch coming out Friday for those Apple TV subscribers, and some people have actually had the chance to see it and already check things out with that. We've got short films, we've got all kinds of stuff that is coming out, and it's awesome. Godzilla x Kong here shortly too. And so I like to talk to kaiju content creators. I like to bring them in and get their thoughts on things, talk about their kaiju upbringing. And so my guest today is no exception to that. So please give a monster welcome here in 3, 2, 1. Jacob Lyngle, Kaiju United. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Good to have you. And if you haven't already, of course, you need to smash that like button and subscribe to the Monster Report. Also go to kaijuunited.com, correct?
That's right. You should visit.
That's right. And so if you haven't already, it's something cool out there to check out. Articles written by Jacob, and he's got a team of people that are all kaiju fans like we are here, and just bringing some news to you. And I just got the chance to check it out. And so I know you've been a kaiju fan a lot longer than just since the site has launched. So we'll get into that here in a few. We've got some people in the chat that want to get already started with this. We've got our good friend Everett. Everett, good to have you. And we just had the Tucson Kaiju Festival. Shout out to everyone who attended that.
That looked really cool.
Yep. Walter, good to have you here. We've got Tanner. Tanner must be someone you know, right?
We've got the roster. Yeah, Tanner. I know Tanner. He is a Kaiju Jumi, I believe, on YouTube. He does a lot of figure reviews. Good stuff.
Awesome. Kaiju Fanatic. We've got Joe. Simply Joe. Adam's in the chat. Thirsty Thursday Toys. Good to have you.
Walter. What's up, Walter?
Walter. Kaiju Junkie. It's the GOAT, Jacob.
The GOAT.
Greatest of all things. Brendan, good to have you. And Tokusatsu BTS. Aye, Jacob. So you brought the fans. That's awesome. I'm glad to have you all here. My audience to your audience, and we have crossover, which is great.
We do. Yeah, we got a lot of people, a lot of good friends. Adam was an interview subject on the site. Tokusatsu BTS and Kaiju Junkie are two of our fantastic contributors that cover events. Like Kaiju Junkie did Kaiju Brooklyn for us.
Right.
Tokusatsu BTS does a lot of nice articles, is a great young budding film writer. A lot of great stuff.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I want to bring up the site so we can see it. Hopefully I do this correctly. So kaijuunited.com. There it is. Beautiful. Very well put together. We'll get into some of your kaiju background, but I want to make sure that the viewers now, sometimes they jump in at the beginning and then they jump in, they jump out. We go about an hour. So I want everyone to make sure that you go to Kaiju United and bookmark this site because you've got stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah, so we try and be consistent, but not like annoying. We just always want to have something going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you tell me a little about the site, how long you've done it, and where did it start and where are we now?
So Kaiju United started as a Facebook group in 2020. I just kind of was I was an admin of other Facebook groups for a long time, and I just kind of went, I'm going to start my own and do my own thing. And we did that for 3 years, and we were like, where do we take this cool community next? Because I want to be more than just Facebook and Facebook groups, you know. So we decided to start a website. And my goal was to do a community-focused website where anyone can come to us and contribute as long as you come to us and give us your pitch. I also wanted a place that was fostering a positive environment for kaiju fans because I just really I don't like negativity. Like I would much rather hear why you love something more than why you hate something because there's more passion and energy in that. We started the site fully launched in March, so we've been doing this 7 months. And honestly, it's been the craziest 7 months probably in my life. It's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. So I don't want to give too much away with the site, but I want to make sure that people get the chance to see some of obviously here's the home page where you can just hit up some of the most recent articles that have been published. Where else can we highlight some important facts that they want to check out?
I think the homepage is pretty solid. We got the latest stuff right at the top. We got the interviews you want to see. I'm especially proud of that Jeffrey Engels interview. He is the translator of those new Godzilla novellas that came out a couple months ago or a month ago. He really dives into translating and Kayama, the writer of those novellas, and who he is, and various Japanese media you should check out. So that's really cool. We've had other special guests on the site, like Yoko Higuchi, who is a production assistant on Shin Godzilla.
Yep.
So if you're a fan of that, we also do community interviews. We talk to interesting people in the community, some faces you might recognize, like AJ Russo, Kaiju Live, Donnie Winner.
Yep.
A lot of that stuff. We also have an artist gallery that we want more on. That's just like featured artists in the community. So you can see people that have decided to allow us to share their art, like Ray Fromm, Irvin Chi.
Yes, beautiful.
Ricky Washington. And then they all have little listings. That's our visual editor, Rachel Kingery.
Right here, yeah.
Yep. So just all sorts of fun stuff. And I also, when I say anyone can contribute to us, I really mean that because we have really brilliant, compelling professional writers like Elijah Thomas, who did that really great -1 article on the director. No spoilers in there. You can check it out. It's just about his movies he's made. So he used to write for Kaiju Ramen magazine. So he's really experienced, really great. We also have, just community contributors with Kaiju United as their first platform site that they've written for, and hopefully, down the road, they turn into really nice, serious writers writing for outlets, and they can call Kaiju United their first start, which would be really great. That's what I want out of this.
And what's great about kaiju content creation, I've told people, it doesn't need to be just a YouTube channel. It doesn't need to be a podcast. That's great. Do those things. You can write. You've got something to say. And, it's like, get behind that keyboard and start getting that, that article out there. If you want to be spoilers or no spoilers, but you were just mentioning, I think, kind of where you go after this is to be spoiler free, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think we've ever done anything spoilery just because I like to be careful and considerate.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't mind spoilers. I like to spoil myself. I'm really bad at that.
Okay.
So, but for everybody else, my site and the contributors that write for us, unless it's like a really old movie like Citizen Kane, everyone knows Rosebud's the sled. Sorry for those of you that didn't know that.
Did what?
But, what?
The sled?
What are you talking about?
Oh, no, goodness. Also, what's in the box in 7? No, don't tell me.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? So, it's like, if it's old, I think spoilers are okay. If it's an older, Godzilla film, obviously, I want to go ahead and get into the spoilers. But yes. New material. To check this out, get some reaction, even with Monarch. And we'll get into that in a few about, your early access to Monarch and writing about it, being spoiler free, but getting, your take on it, which is I read through it, and it's very cool to see that you've had that look into it, and it's an exciting, new piece of content to add to all that we're getting. Because I grew up in a time when there was this lull of just nothing. There was nothing happening, and it was like things were happening in Japan, but we weren't getting it over here. And so,
absolutely. Like I grew up in the 2000s. I'll carbon date myself right now. I'm 25. So when I was a kid, we got the we got the Sony DVDs, which was cool when I was a kid. But we still had that 10-year gap between G14 and Final Wars, and we had a 6-year, I can't remember, currently in between Shin Godzilla and -1, 7 years, I think. Sorry, I screwed the math up. But just having that big 10-year gap of like nothing, it's just I don't want to gatekeep in any way, but a lot of younger fans weren't around for that, and it was kind of an interesting point of time to be a fan.
Well, and I grew up in the 90s. So, it was 81 that I was born. We did get Godzilla 1985. We had Biollante on VHS and HBO. But it was like, other than that, the 90s, this stuff was happening in Japan. The Heisei series was going on. We heard about it. We got some toys in 94. And it was like, I want to see this content. I want to see these movies. And we just weren't getting them until, of course, we got the Sony movie, and then we started getting VHS tapes and DVDs and all that. But yeah, there was a big gap. And so this is cool to see this. And I look at it like this. We've got we got plenty of Marvel going on, and that's all great for the Marvel fans. I feel like it's a bit of fatigue going on right now with that. And I feel like some fresh kaiju content coming out, seeing Gamma Rebirth, the Ultraman anime, we got more Ultraman episodes too with Blazer, that is awesome to get this again. I would hope for, the the kaiju universe to expand in there. Let's get some chats. I've been getting away from that a little bit. Yes, that's right. I appreciate this.
Fly. Sorry, guys.
Yes. And he loves your site, so
Thank
absolutely. You. Adrian, good to have you. I love that -1 or Godzilla the Ride probably figure. Kind of so cool. Tomato. Yeah. So we've got, I can't escape spoilers. We know that. We do the best we can. But there's that. Yeah, 2004 to 2014. No news, rumors galore. Community on YouTube kept the community strong back then. Good time. It was
yes.
Yeah. So it was like we were kaiju fans before it was cool. Like you said, not gatekeeping, but so yeah. Jedi Granville. It's like, I'll do you one better. I'm a 70s child. Yeah,
the 70s.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, they were some interesting kaiju content there. The 85 in theaters. Yeah, that would have been cool. And I think there was some times that they showed it in like Pennsylvania on a drive-in, and I'm like, man, that would have been awesome to see. And like in 35 millimeter. Yeah, that would have been cool. So the website's great. Everyone, bookmark it, check it out. Plug your social outlets for where all they can follow you.
Okay, so you can obviously find us at kaijuunited.com. We're not going anywhere. That's the home base. We are just about on every social media you can find, just under Kaiju United. I made it really easy. So luckily, none of the usernames are taken, but we're the most active on Facebook. We have our own Facebook group called Kaiju United, the official Facebook group, to kind of separate us from the website page. You should join if you're not in there. It's a nice 700-member community that's peaceful. It's nice. It's pretty wholesome. Everyone gets along. It's great. We're active on Instagram. We share all our articles on there. We'll post promotional photos we get from press releases. And we'll also post coverage of events like the Kaiju Brooklyn stuff. We'll be at G-Fest next year. doing some extra stuff that I can't talk about right now, but we're just going to do a lot of fun stuff.
Stay tuned, right?
Yes, stay tuned.
So I'm gonna shut up for a little while, and if anyone in the chat has a question for Jacob, let us know. I'll put it on the screen. Please be appropriate. And I would just want to know your background in the kaiju fandom. Where did it start for you? Was it early on? Was it later on? Was it a particular film, comic, art, what have you? And where did it take you?
Okay, so I'm kind of like a lot of fans where I kind of started as a kid. I think so. I gotta think for a second. I apologize. So I think my first kaiju film. This is gonna kind of make people chuckle, I guess. So my first real Godzilla movie was Godzilla '98. We rented it from Hollywood Video or Blockbuster because I liked watching horror movies as a kid. I probably shouldn't have been watching horror movies as a kid. Like when I was 5 or 6, Freddy versus Jason came out, and I thought it was cool because they beat each other up. So that led to this movie called Godzilla with this big iguana dinosaur looking thing that was cool and fast, and just there's babies that like went and ate everybody in Madison Square Garden. Like the kid in me thought it was cool. So then I was like in Hollywood Video, for those of you that remember that, and I was like, no way, there's more of these movies called Godzilla. And I rented a little movie called Godzilla versus Gigan, and the rest is history, they say.
So Godzilla versus Gigan was your first versus?
Yes.
Same. That is awesome. Yes, very awesome. So yeah, I started with 85 as a first film, but Gigan was in the rental store too in Mechagodzilla. But I started with Gigan. I was like, man, this is cool. And it's like to know that he could also be a hero.
Yes. And I think I went towards the Millennium series after that. I went a little Showa because of the Sony DVDs. But then I Final Wars, Tokyo SOS, and 2000, I just watched over and over and over and over again. And around, it's going to be funny, around the time that Michael Bay Transformers movies came out, I kind of fell out of it. And I got into Transformers for a little bit, but that's for another time. And then in like middle school, when they kind of started announcing, they started doing Facebook groups in like 2010, 2011, and they started posting about this thing called G-Fest. I was like, hey, I like Godzilla as a kid. I want to go. I want to just hit it up and see how it is and relive my childhood. And I started watching the movies again to get ready for it, joining these Facebook groups, and I fell in love with it all over again. And leading right up to G-Fest, I watched the Gamera trilogy for the first time, and it was just all over. Like that was like the relighting of the flame. So I went to that G-Fest, met a bunch of my friends in real life, and I have never stopped going to G-Fest since. And here I am running a kaiju website. So thank you, Gamera trilogy.
Yeah, well, that is awesome because, being a fan, obviously we get those times where we find ourselves in peripheral fandoms. You talked about Transformers. Mm-hmm. Was there any others like the Star Wars or Marvel, anything else like that kind of appealed to you as well?
I've always liked comic books. I am a Marvel guy. I understand the fatigue if anyone's feeling that, but I've always liked superheroes. It was always like growing up, the Ang Lee Hulk movie from 2003 was out when I was a kid, and I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet. So it was always the Incredible Hulk, Godzilla, and Optimus Prime in my circles. I'd have all those toys team up. It was the coolest team up in the world. Maybe one day they'll team up in a movie because, crossovers are getting kind of crazy.
I know. Absolutely. And to see to see the crossovers happening, now we're still waiting on that Gamera Godzilla. I mean,
yeah, that's a dream, man.
That
Like
is.
they've done weird stuff like Kamen Rider versus Ultraman. Like they can do it. I want them to do it, but
it's all possible. It's all
See.
the right stars need to align. Shameless advertising. It's not a Dr. Pepper. Sorry. Yeah, despite the drought, the best memories are from that time. Yep. Remember the new Godzilla trailer? Yeah. Did you see the trailer before the film came out? The Sony film?
There
were a few. There was like
no, I don't think so. Because
there was a foot that came through a museum.
Yes, the museum. I've seen them in retrospect in adulthood, but I was born the same year that movie came out, so I wasn't there to see it.
I got you. Yeah, I'm dating myself. That's but it did bring in fans. Yes, and we have to give it credit. Even though I'm not a 98 fan, yep, the next generation brought it in. Godzilla versus Gigan. I could tell this guy's a Gigan fan.
Oh yeah, Matthew loves Gigan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hollywood Video, yeah, and of course Blockbuster. I heard there's like one left in the country.
Yes, I think it's in Oregon.
And they're like holding on to the franchise.
And it's called, I think it's actually called The Last Blockbuster, which is really fun.
That is awesome. Maybe there'll be a comeback one day. King Kong from Hollywood Video. Yeah. Tell us, Kaiju Junkie, which King Kong? Oh, the King Kong game. Sorry.
Yes, the Peter Jackson game. I played that a lot as a kid, too. That kind of held over as well.
Gamera Trilogy was the bomb. It was so awesome. No, it's not the same, but absolutely it's still absolutely crazy. And the Godzilla mobile game Battle Line has Ultraman, Gamera, Kamen Rider together. Just throw them all in. Why not? Yeah, at least in the gaming world, we can get that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve trailer, they got him so jazzed. Okay.
I can't remember that one.
Yeah, I know. The years sometimes get on us. But so when it comes to the new, let's talk before we get into maybe -1. Let's talk the Monarch, because that is your latest article that you wrote. Without being spoiler heavy and all that, what is it that not we can expect, but what we might like from it if we're kaiju fans, hardcore or normie, new, old, what have you?
I think that I'll start with the normies first, because I actually watched through the series with my mother sitting right next to me, which was kind of cool. The normies are going to like Kurt Russell. Who doesn't like Kurt Russell? I think he's a lot of fun. If you're there for a Kurt Russell meets Godzilla, you're going to get that. No spoilers there. You'll just get that. I really like that it tries to match the tone of Godzilla 14 and Skull Island a little bit. Those early MonsterVerse films were a little more grounded. Like there's no flying spaceships and stuff. They're just regular people characters. And I think they really tried to put some effort in you caring about these characters and the mystery journey they're on. So people that dig that kind of filmmaking are going to love it. Kaiju fans, there's some good Godzilla moments in there you're going to appreciate. I'm struggling not to spoil anything and speak vaguely, but he, as I said in my review, even when he's not physically on screen, he has a presence. You feel him there. Because a lot of this deals with the trauma of surviving the attacks. It takes place right after G14. And some of the characters process that trauma and flash back to seeing Godzilla on the Golden Gate Bridge. And I really think that's a really neat idea. It's really cool for world building if you're into that as well, because like you see in the trailer, there's anti-Godzilla bunkers that people go in case of a Godzilla attack, and that's cool.
Yeah. Question about the notion that some people have had concerns about when it comes to a TV budget versus a film budget. Do you get the feeling that they had to hold back some of the visual effects because we're on a television budget? We don't have the big millions and millions of dollars as the big budget. Or do you feel like, boy, it just kind of fits within the glove of the legendary series already?
It fits in the glove. I mean, we have a lot of streaming shows with big budgets now, like The Mandalorian,
That's right.
or like it or hate it, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power was very expensive.
Yes. Yeah.
Just thinking of other stuff, but Apple TV Plus, this is their first big show. Their other big critical hit show, I can't remember the name, but it's about a Korean family that moves to Japan and kind of the prejudices and dealings of not only being an immigrant, but being a Korean immigrant in a certain period of time. That did really well. A lot of the actors in Monarch are in that show, so I think there's some good carryover. But I definitely, it feels really cinematic. It feels like a 10 episode feature, I guess 10 movies, because all the episodes are like 40 to 50 minutes. So I don't think I'm sure like we could dive into that and be like, well, this shot, they kind of hid this monster a little bit, but no, it matches. Like the cinematography is really nice. It feels like one of the MonsterVerse films, just longer.
Okay, and then we got a question, and I've got a follow-up question to that. But Kaiju Junkie, how grounded in reality would you say? What is LOM? Maybe I'm mistaken.
Legacy of Monsters, Monarch.
Legacy. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking Monarch. Yeah, so
yes.
Okay. In comparison to G2014, you mentioned a little bit of that grounding, and one of the things 2014 did for us was a competent military that also has flaws to it. They're gonna screw up a few times, but they kind of knew going into it the danger and all that, and they didn't have the technology that's outlandish, like you mentioned. They're not going. They don't have the Argo yet, but at this time, you'd say that how the grounding in reality matches well.
It's the same, if not more. I'm trying really hard to not spoil anything. Like I said, the characters are regular people. We don't follow the military, if that makes sense. They're just normal people. The only special people are agents of Monarch. So that's all I'll say.
Okay. So, and actually, I was going to ask about Kurt Russell. Do you think he is that he's given it his all, or as an OG actor, is he phoning it in?
I think his performance is really good. I really like him. He plays. Oh man, this is really hard.
I know. Yeah, I just thinking like some of the OG actors. Sometimes it's for a paycheck, and so they just kind of you just don't think their heart is in it. But you feel like he's really trying and really pouring himself into the characters.
I think so, and I think it's partially because his son is in the show and they're playing the same character.
That's right.
Wyatt's playing the 50s version, and we'll see him a little bit, and Kurt's playing the 2014 version of the character. So I think that has a lot to do with it, because I think it's cool that the father and son can bond over the same show and be in it. And they don't have to play father and son. That's what they said in one of the interviews, is it's really cool that we can share the screen not together because they're playing the same guy, but work on the same project, and I don't have to play his dad, kind of thing.
Yeah. And sci-fi fiction, horror, fantasy fans will obviously know Kurt Russell. He's got that star power. What's kind of the first films you think of when you think of Kurt Russell?
I think of John Carpenter's movies. I think of Escape from New York, and I think of The Thing.
The Thing. Oh, it's like everyone in this chat probably has had the chance to check out The Thing. If you haven't, it's an awesome movie. And that is a man that I swear he either never ages or always looks older, but in charge, and he just can play whatever roles you give him. I had to look him up. He's in
totally agree. Even when we were watching the show, this is not really a spoiler. There's a shirt that when we first see Kurt, he kind of turns around and looks at you like Kurt Russell would. And my mother, who was watching, was like, "Hello." I was like, "Okay, all right, Mom."
Still got that star power. Still, still knocking the ladies dead, right?
She was like, "Oh man, Kurt was on my locker in high school." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Nice. Of course, yeah, Bobby Reynolds in the chat. Good to have you.
Hi, Bobby.
Yes. Yep, good to have you. And yeah, can't wait to dive into this series myself. Sky High. Yeah, that was another Kurt Russell, wasn't it?
Sky High. Yeah,
One of
Sky
maybe
High
his
came out when I was a kid. I've seen Sky High. Oh my gosh.
Big Trouble in Little China is also a great one.
Little China.
Yep. Yeah, that is cool. Jetta Granville and Walter. Yeah, so father son playing the same role. And I can't even think of another film that does something like that. There's probably somebody in the chat who can tell me that there's this other film or series or something.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, where they actually do have the father and son, doing the aging sort of thing. That would be very cool. But yeah, when it comes to the sci-fi stuff, it's like I think of him as Stargate as well. He was great in that. Again, it's like he can play so many. Snake Plissken. I mean, he's just amazing. Range.
He's got range too. Like we all know him for those cool guy roles, but like he played Elvis in John Carpenter's biopic.
Right.
He was a prolific Disney not Disney Channel, but Disney actor back when he was a kid and a teenager. He was one of the last people to work with Walt Disney. Like he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and he just commands the screen. How does the other actors playing the other characters aside from him work off of him?
The modern day characters play off of him really well because oh man, this is really hard.
I know. Yeah.
I like how they bounce off of him because they don't really know who he is. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You don't really. You're kind of meeting a guy for the first time. You don't really know who he is as a person. That's all I'll say.
You mentioned in the article mystery, a lot of mystery and
a lot of questions, a lot of mystery is a good word. That's a good reflective word on it.
And I like that when they don't have to tell us everything. They've got something for you brewing behind the scenes.
I will say the young actors, so Wyatt Russell, Anders Holm, who I will just spoil this a little bit because it's kind of public knowledge. Anders Holm plays Bill Randa, the young Bill Randa from Skull Island. So John Goodman, but younger. He's really good. I was pleasantly surprised, as I said in my review, how likable that performance was. Because I was like, John Goodman in Skull Island was kind of, I don't know, he wasn't a villain like Colonel Packard was, but he had that disgruntledness and antagonistic nature to him. He was just doing whatever it takes to get those answers and to get the proof that monsters are real. And I liked seeing how those seeds were planted.
And I'm just kind of getting the sense that the conflict between these characters are definitely is definitely something that's going to be palatable to the audience, and it's something that's going to give it I always love to say rewatchability, because you and I rewatch these Godzilla films, the classics, the newer ones, the whatever. They got the rewatchability. Sometimes episodes may not have that, but I'm getting the sense that this one is something we could binge and go ahead and rewatch again and still enjoy.
I hope so. And it's got some kaiju in there. You've seen the trailers, like they're there and they're unique and they're brand new. Sorry to disappoint some of those. That might be a light spoiler, but I'm not saying anything, you know.
Oh,
But
good.
Apple TV is honestly pretty underrated. The projects they've dropped have been really well taken care of. I haven't seen C, so I'm going to check that out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Apple TV. I mean, it's something I'm going to be getting into now that I have my subscription, and that's it's going to open up something for Apple. So got to give some of the Netflix and Hulu and all the others some competition, which is great. Your fanfic for your mom. So, Bobby Reynolds, thank you for the super chat. Top 5 favorite monsters: Godzilla, Togura from War of the Monsters,
Braun Strowman.
Strowman. Yeah, that was.
Why not the Undertaker, man?
It was unexpected. All right, and he's above King Kong.
Oh wow, he's a monster.
He is a monster.
Good. Thanks for the super chat.
Yes, thank you. Had to go mute because I definitely didn't want to hear even a little spoiling. Well,
I understand.
Yep, I think we're good on Monarch from this point on, Walter. So let us talk a little about -1 and what we know so far from the trailers without spoiling anything, and maybe some of the hopes that we have when we finally do get the chance to see it. I assume you have not traveled abroad to see it, right?
Nah, that just wasn't in the pocketbook, unfortunately. And I also did not get to go to LA to see the premiere. I would have loved
That's right.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. It looks really great. It looks like something truly special. They just released a clip via Fandango this week of a little bit of that boat chase. And honestly, I was floored by how that CG model looks. Like that close up on his mouth with the water coming out of it. That looks real good. That looks real. I was like, holy cow. So
I'm hoping really that the American audiences can really take to this, and
me too.
Yeah, the Japanese Godzilla as well as the Legendary series. But oh man, to get this again, I guess I'd also hope that we get them more often. We had Shin in 2016, and here we are 2023.
I'm almost okay with that wait. I'm almost okay with it because it gave Shin a chance to have its time in the limelight and simmer and really give us time to soak it in, analyze it, talk about it. And now 7 years later, we get a brand new take, fresh out of the oven, different director, different vision. And I'm almost thinking that's what we're going to get. I think we're just going to get one every couple years. It'll be a new director with his take. And I don't know, that's kind of cool. Do I miss the battles a little bit? It seems like we're getting few movies that are just Godzilla solo outings where it's really serious. It harkens back to 54. So maybe next time, I don't know. I haven't seen -1. Maybe I'm wrong, but hopefully next time we get a trailer and there's some action going on with a couple of monsters duking it out.
And what were your feelings when you heard about the fact that this is a period piece? It's not modern or not set into sort of the future, or somewhat future, where we're going to have maser tanks and things like that, and Super X's. That it's going to be set prior to even 54. What was your kind of reaction to that?
Intrigue and delight. I'm like, that's really cool. I like period piece movies. I think it's fun. I like history. But I also think it allows us to have, perhaps, this is speculation, maybe some of the characters were there at the bombings or there for World War II. And thus, with the tagline, Japan at 0, Godzilla makes it -1, we can really dive into that emotion a little bit of surviving not only Hiroshima and then Godzilla. I hope that is covered in the movie. Again, I haven't seen the movie, it's all speculation, but I think that'll be a good part of the period piece. And like you said, there's no masers, there's no crazy jets. So I'm curious to see how Godzilla is stopped without any technology. Well, they have, 40s technology, but, not crazy stuff.
Yeah, because you really got to get innovative if you're going to take him on. Because it's like, boy, the machine guns and everything else they had in even 54, it took something of a pseudoscience weapon. So maybe we'll get another pseudoscience weapon, but still set in the time period that it would make sense to it. -1 looks like what I've been wanting to see in a Godzilla flick for years. Got such a grim, gritty feel, which has me obsessed. I would have been interested in seeing this if somehow, and maybe they even have this in the film, we could get some black and white. I know that's like
that'd be cool.
That is a curse sometimes, though, because we have the color technology and it looks beautiful in HD. But I think some people say black and white is boring. But I'm like, it puts you into that time period.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Side note here.
Yeah.
Aside from kaiju, I'm a massive film buff. So you're talking about black and white movies. Some of my favorite movies are black and white. Like I'm a Chaplin fanatic. I love director Ingmar Bergman, who did the black and white Grim Reaper movie, The Seventh Seal from Sweden. So black and white can communicate a language that lacks color in many, 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 many ways. And I agree with your sentiment where if people go black and white's boring, then I just don't agree with that.
No, and I even think at times to get that, like Saving Private Ryan did, it was color, but it gave you that 8mm feel to it.
Yes.
And like it was shot on location. I think that's an awesome way of stylizing it too. Night Ravens, thank you for chiming in. Love a period piece just for new fans. It can capture how 54 was for people who saw it then. Yeah. Yes. Take us back. Yeah, this is going to be awesome. How do you guys feel about Godzilla seemingly being on the smaller side in this film? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I believe that's public knowledge. I think I read somewhere in a press release. But you can even measure him in the trailers. He is show a scale. So unfortunately, if you guys did not know that, I think it's kind of obvious by the trailers. From my understanding, he is 50 meters tall. I will not say anything else. But you can compare the buildings in the trailer like that. The building with the clock on it is an iconic fashion mall in Japan, I believe, some kind of mall, but it's still around. It's still there. That building you can measure up to Godzilla and kind of figure it out. But I like it. You can't get scenes like the boat chase where his head's right up to the boat like that.
Yeah.
Or where the people are standing right here and the tail whips the building from one of the other TV spots without making him a little smaller. Like Shin and 14 are cool because they're big and epic. But I like shrinking him down so that you can better understand how big he is, but also have him do stuff like chase a boat.
Well, and you brought up a good point that what I was going to follow up on with my feelings towards it. You're right. The scale of the buildings and the scale of the monster, somewhat needs to work. They had to bulk him up when the building started towering way over the top of him. So in more modern films, but back here, the Japanese Diet building, he's still going to be towering over, but he still needs to work within that. But if he's smaller, now he can take note of you. And I'm seeing a lot of that in these trailers, that he is targeting people.
Yes. He's malicious.
Yes. And he's not just a hurricane that's, the idea that he's a hurricane, an earthquake or whatever. He's a force of nature who plows through your city and all you can do is get out of his way. If Godzilla is targeting you,
that's scary, dude. That's terrifying.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm done. I can't go any further. So yeah, he's going with Mr. At Everyone. I think we all know who he's talking about. Well, there's several at everyone's, but Chris Clavero just going after him. So,
uh-oh.
Reviews are extremely positive. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
wasn't there Rotten Tomatoes 100%, something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, with only 6 reviews, so
Yeah,
I it might drop down a little bit, but so far it's a good start.
give it some time. Shim got a black and white release, but I think -1 definitely needs to get one. Helmy, good to have you. I have to say,
Hi,
seeing.
help me.
And if you are anyone, I should be rereading these or pre-reading these to make sure that I'm not getting any spoilers out there. But it looks like,
Yes.
yeah, looks like we're all right. Rewatch again, gonna be awesome. Yeah, I think Helmy got the chance to head over to Japanese. Don't down black and white. Yep. Don't. Have you seen some modern films that have tried that style?
Yes, I've seen the black and white cut of Mad Max Fury Road, and I thought that worked quite well.
Mhm.
Of like the shiny and chrome edition or something like that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And when I was a kid, Schindler's List was one that did that intentionally, but also had the intentional portion of color that they had to use in there
Yes.
to make a point, and it was a stylistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Helmy's right. Logan, the Wolverine movie, had a black and white cut. I didn't watch it, but I think that works.
Yeah, that's awesome. Smaller Godzilla's personal. Dropping to say a quick hello.
Hello.
Shoma. Godzilla
Nice.
-1. Have to see a smaller kaiju in a modern Japanese G film adds suspense to human interactions. Godzilla sizes it was getting out of control.
Planet Godzilla.
It's like, but ours is bigger.
Yes. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them in the comments. I know Kaiju Junkie did one, but please, go right ahead, and then I'll let Nick take us to the next spot of our discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little about the short films that happened on Godzilla Day and what we got out of them.
Cool.
Whichever one you want to start with, tell us how you felt.
I had fun with both of them. Had a little more fun with Jet Jaguar because it's Jet Jaguar, and I love that smiling robot so much. He has my heart and soul. I thought it was really fun. On one side, it was great seeing a new suit look just like the original suit and do some really cool stuff. And it was directed by, I got to pull his name up. I'm blanking. I apologize. It was directed by a guy who directed episodes 7 and 8 of Ultraman Blazar, and he did the other live action shorts for Godzilla Day. So you can tell a lot that it's directed by an Ultraman director because of the choreography. He's doing front flips, he's doing that spin kick that's really cool. So Jet Jaguar was an Ultraman for a little bit. But on the other side, it kind of bums me out because, it's proof they can still do it, and I wish they would.
The actual tokusatsu suitimation. Yeah. And boy, wasn't that the agility of that Jet Jaguar, even the Godzilla. I mean, even that, very agile. And when you have, the suits and how heavy they are, and oh my goodness. But yeah, that one was epic. I mean, just amazing.
Cool.
I think, I got to look at this up again, but in the shots where they're in the bay with Jet Jaguar and they have that homage to Mechagodzilla 2, with the shadows coming in, one of those military men is Yuji Kaida.
Yuji Kaida had a cameo in that.
That was awesome to see that.
And he's a diehard fan too. He's such a big fan of this. So it's cool that such a talent in the community and in the fandom at large, and in the professional sphere, is just such a big fan of Godzilla, just like us.
I'll get some chats in here, and we'll talk about Megalon too. So, what if John Woo made a kaiju film? I know Bobby's an action movie fan, so Bobby, you're on it.
That'd be cool. I'd be down.
Yeah.
Only seen Hard Boiled, but Hard Boiled is great. So that'd be pretty fun.
But go way back. Have you seen Face Off?
I've seen Face Off. That's right.
Yeah.
That was John Woo.
John Woo. Mission Impossible 2.
I don't think I've seen that.
That's a classic. It's bizarre, but it's There was one called Paycheck with Ben Affleck. It's another good action John Woo kind of thing going there. Chris at everyone Christopher. Tell me, when are you going to invite me over to your house so we can watch all the Godzilla movies in your epic theater?
Oh, I've heard about this theater.
Helmy has a theater.
Helmy theater.
We're on our way to Australia. If Australia wants to join the rest of the world, it can come a little closer, though. It's so far away. We got a question. Walter asks, and here's a question. Knowing that -1 is set after WW2, would it have changed your point of view if it was rated R? It is rated PG-13, but would it have changed your mind or point of view, I should say?
No. I don't know. Like, if it was like try hard rated R, probably I would have been like, you guys are just being too edgy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it was really diving into some of the horrific World War II stuff and it warranted that R rating, cool. We've never seen an R-rated Godzilla film, so let's do it.
It would be a first.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Movie ratings don't really bother me, though.
Well, yeah. And once you're, and like you said, you grew up as a kid watching some horror movies too. Aliens, Alien and Aliens were, when I was a kid, we used to watch the heck out of those. They were just awesome films. Predator, the Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yes.
So, yeah. Helmy's Theater has given me so much inspiration.
Me too.
Yeah, man. Who needs a living room when you got Helmy's Theater?
Oh, we got a bartender.
Yeah. He'll make us some -1 and Monarch beverages, something like that. And Everett will grill us some steaks. So Joe's asking you expectations on G-Fest next year without you had the tease, but what you can tell us.
I don't know anything about what they're planning besides what I am planning possibly with them. I hope they bring Yamazaki to G-Fest. Again, I don't know what they're doing with the special guests. I have no idea. But they got Higuchi the year after Shin Godzilla. Yamazaki is a client with Japan's Legends, run by Tim Bean. He got him when Godzilla the Ride was a thing. And then, boom, he made the next Godzilla movie. So what a lucky guy right there, huh? But I hope they bring him because it would just be perfect. What other show would he show up at? Otherwise, I just I can't wait to really be at G-Fest full force as Kaiju United with contributors there now and all of us together. I've pitched panels for them for the first time, so I'm excited to see if we get some approved. I just have really, really high expectations of it being a really great, fun year. That's about it.
Gotcha. Helmy says we're all invited, but we're so far away.
Yeah, I'm in Utah. I'm pretty far away.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah, happens to be the other side of the planet. An uncomfortable question. Just because it's just Clavero. You want to take this one on or me?
Why don't you take this one? I'll let you do it.
I'll tell you already. Come on. Make sure that the kids can go to the movie. And there's no point. Okay, unless you're just trying to be shocking. Okay, like you talked about, you can just be gratuitous and shameless. So there you go, Chris. Chris, yeah, he's got his mind in the gutter. I don't know how that guy can afford those Spiral Studios, and yeah, I know.
I don't know. I agree with your take, though. It's we got to introduce the next generation of fans to this. And doing that ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, well, and I would say this when it comes to Godzilla should traverse all the ages. These should be films that we can approach even as families, and they've even some of the violence in Godzilla is somewhat subdued. There's times, of course, I watch with my kids the Godzilla films, and some of it's like almost like, okay, yeah, we know it's coming up. We know he's going to bleed in Gigan, or he's going to bleed in Mecha Godzilla, and it's like almost over the top. Over the top that it's like, yeah, okay, that's silly. And even
some of the going back as an adult and watching some of the dubs, I'm like, what? They said that word? Like Godzilla versus Gigan. And I'm like, whoa.
Right, yeah, exactly. Oh man. Yeah, Bobby Reynolds, thank you again for the other super chat. 80s and 90s action films are the best. Me and my movie reviewer friends like Rambo Ref Forms for Life are huge fans of those. So yeah, there was definitely something to the Arnold and Stallone kind of days of action films. Yes, bring him. Absolutely. And Tim
again, I don't know a thing. I'm not. Please don't get hyped up by that if it doesn't happen. I don't know a thing. So I'm a fan like you guys. I don't know what's going on. So that's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Always a solid question. What's your favorite Godzilla?
Oh no. I like all the Showa Godzillas a lot. I just like all of them. I even like Godzilla 67. I know that's kind of sacrilege, but I think he's kind of charming and he's kind of chunky, and I like that. He's like if your old man was a kaiju, and I kind of like that. He's like dad bod Godzilla.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. He's definitely the dad. Walter's gonna miss. I unfortunately it's the wrong time of year for me. Unfortunately, my kids are in 4-H, so I won't be able to attend. If there was a way to, and there was Yamazaki, oh my goodness, it would be awesome. We'll see. Yeah, but again, it's got to be in that time of July, unless they moved it to June or August or anything like that. I might be able to. Here's hoping to meet everyone. Double the photos. Okay. Let's see. Chris, he didn't leave us. Okay, he wouldn't argue that would do that. New Gamma Rebirth. Okay, yeah, I have not seen Gamma Rebirth yet, so I need to.
Oh yeah, the language in that was quite shocking if you watch the dub.
Oh really?
I think they're going for like teenagers being teenagers and just swearing like sailors, but they did not expect the F word in the Gamma series. That was kind of surprising.
Yep. Adam liked the dad bod Godzilla.
Dad bod Godzilla.
I think Godzilla could use some more of that. I think MonsterVerse has done a great job at brutality, Kiss of Death, Kong eating an octopus and warbats, and Godzilla tearing up Kong. Yep.
Yeah, the fights are pretty visceral. I just, if you want nudity in your Godzilla films, you can go watch Godzilla versus Space Godzilla and see that guy's butt.
Oh gosh, yeah, the Yuki special.
There you go.
Jacob, you and I are duetting kaiju karaoke.
Oh no, I can't sing. What are you talking about, Nick?
Are you going to be singing the Jet Jaguar song though?
Oh, I can't sing in Japanese.
Do the Mystery Science Theater version.
Oh yeah, eat chocolate made of steel.
Yes, eat sushi from a pail. Dad jokes confirmed. Well, that's me all over the place, but yeah.
Dad jokes Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm so yeah. Okay, we're catching up with the chats. Anyone can sing after a few drinks. That's right. Okay, so we'll kind of start wrapping things up here, and this has been a great conversation. Everyone, check out Kaiju United if you haven't already. You're going there, and have you kind of noticed some interaction with people and some positive kind of people approaching you and saying, hey, this is cool, I want to be involved, or just throwing you some feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been on a lot of streams recently, and a couple of them I've been on with other individuals that run content and websites have said, we've heard a lot about you, which is really cool. You've got a bunch of people in this chat that have come to us to be contributors. I've had people in comments say, we love what you're doing, please keep doing it, which is exactly what I want to hear. I just want to keep that force of positivity and the fandom going. We just want to be positive and uplifting and supportive with everybody in the community. And that's the best thing that we can do, is just be there as a good force for the community. And I just call it, I've been calling it kind of a movement, because it's just been a really great 7 months of all this support and love and encouragement from the community, from my family and friends. And we can't do it without you guys. Like, it's super awesome. We wouldn't be covering Monarch the way we're doing if you guys didn't come out these first few months and really, spread the word, share the page, write for us. And I guess I'll conclude that by saying the door is open. If you'd like to collaborate, if you want me on your show like Nick's doing, if you want to contribute, you can email us at thekaijuunited@gmail.com. You can message me, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, the Kaiju, I'm going to write that in, United @gmail.com. Very easy to get a hold of Jacob and contact him that way. And of course, I want you to be able to plug your social outlets and anything else you'd like to plug as we are closing things up here. And I'll get some last little chats. Amanda Clark, thank you so much. Most excellent. Kaiju Junkie, got a new subscriber. I assume my subscriber. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah. And Valerie Smith.
Hey, that's my mom.
Lyngle. Okay. And tell us what you think of Mr. Kurt Russell, right?
Right. Social wise, you can find me by my real name on Facebook, Jacob Lyngle. On Instagram, I'm Lyngle Gone, like Baragon, but my last name, because Baragon's my favorite monster. And I'm pretty active on those. And pretty much the KU socials I talked about earlier. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Join the Facebook group if you haven't already, because it's a great, positive little group of people that share stuff. And I hope to see you guys on the next stream.
All right, excellent. And as Monarch starts doing more releases and things, would you be willing to come back after we can actually talk about the episodes because they've been released? Would you be willing to come back for some conversation about that?
I'll always come back. I've been following the Monster Report. I think I started watching with Adam on the show, and I've just been watching ever since. So yeah,
awesome.
Give me the word, I'll be on.
Yeah, big plug for Adam too. Thank you so much, Jacob, and thank you all for joining us for a great conversation. Check out Kaiju United, all the social outlets between X, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, kaijuunited.com. Reach out to Jacob if you're interested in supporting everything that he's got. And thank you all out there for checking out the Monster Report. We are getting close to that 100,000 subscribers, and it's because of you guys, the fans, that we're there. But we just want to continue making great kaiju content creation and highlighting other content creators as well. My audience to your audience, always happy to do that. And Jacob, thank you for your time. You've been very generous with it. And we'll have you definitely back on another episode and another stream. So everyone stay tuned.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on, and thanks for all the commenters. That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Stick around after the stream. Jacob will say our proper goodbyes, and for all of you out there, we will catch you on another episode of the Monster Report Live. Check us out Saturday, where we'll have the crew of Tucson Kaiju Festival talking about their reaction to all things that happened at the Kaiju Festival on Godzilla Day. So definitely stay tuned for that. It'll be Saturday night and 9 p.m. Eastern time. And for all those that are on, I think they're mostly Arizona Pacific time, it should be 6 p.m. that time. So we'll catch you then. And everyone, good night, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much.